Blake Lively just fired back hard. She's making moves to get herself dismissed from Justin Bond's lawsuit. And let me tell you, it's getting messy. I'm Jordan, and this is True Story. Buckle up because this one's a ride. So, what's the drama? Lively's legal team just filed a motion to dismiss, calling the lawsuit against her nothing short of a profound abuse of the legal process. Ouch. They're saying it doesn't belong anywhere near a federal court, let alone this mess of a legal battle. Basically, they're accusing the other side of trying to weaponize a defamation lawsuit just to retaliate against her. It's a classic case of legal mudslinging, and Lively's not having it. But here's where it gets confusing and scandalous. The lawsuit in question claims that Lively and others supposedly teamed up with the New York Times to stir up trouble, but legally speaking, that argument's falling apart faster than a celebrity marriage. The motion even calls out the claim as being barred by multiple privileges, including something called the litigation and fair report privileges. Yeah, it sounds fancy, but basically it means they're protected from being sued just for talking about their own legal cases. Oh, and get this, they're also throwing in a brand new California civil code that blocks any retaliatory lawsuits based on public disclosures of sexual harassment or similar allegations. Problem is, the lawsuit was filed in New York, not California. Seriously, did someone mix up their legal playbook? The motion points out this little blunder, making the entire claim look like a desperate grasp at relevance. It's almost laughable, like they're throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. But Lively's team isn't playing around. They're basically saying, nice try, but no. And with all these legal protections in place, it's looking like this case might just fizzle out faster than it started. Now, whether or not the judge will buy it is another story. One thing's for sure, Blake Lively isn't backing down, and the drama just keeps building. Stay tuned, because this scandal is far from over. Blake Lively's legal smackdown just hit harder than a plot twist in a bad rom-com. Turns out, the Wayfair parties just might have dug themselves into a hole so deep, even Hollywood's best writers couldn't script an escape. Here's the kicker. Lively's motion to dismiss is pointing out something pretty brutal. If this whole defamation mess gets tossed out, the Wayfair side might actually be on the hook for her attorney's fees, plus treble and punitive damages. Yeah, that's right. Suing her could end up costing them even more. You can almost feel the irony dripping off the court documents. And the cherry on top? The billionaire co-founder of the production company, Steve Surwitz, might just end up regretting that big talk about spending $100 million to litigate against her. Because if the case gets thrown out, he might not just lose his case, he might lose his wallet too. Talk about an epic self-own. But it doesn't stop there. The motion digs even deeper into the absurdity of the accusations. Apparently, the amended complaint can't even pin down a single element of defamation or false light properly. It's like they just threw a bunch of accusations at the wall and hoped something would stick. No concrete evidence, no specific defamatory statements, just a whole lot of vague finger-pointing. Here's the part where the drama really hits. The Wayfair parties claim Lively made false allegations of sexual misconduct and orchestrated a smear campaign to trash their reputation. But Lively's motion fires back, saying those accusations are nothing more than wild conspiracy theories. To make matters worse, the supposed evidence of malice is almost laughably non-existent. The whole thing reads like an angry blog post, not a legal document. The real kicker? The lawsuit seems to be banking on the idea that Lively is some kind of all-powerful Hollywood puppet master, manipulating public perception like a grand chess game. Yet at the same time, they're also portraying her as so powerless that she had to manufacture allegations just to get some control. Pick a lane, folks. You can't have it both ways. To top it all off, the motion calls out the biggest flaw: timing. Lively's initial public disclosure of harassment allegations happened way back in November 2023, over a year before Wayfair filed their lawsuit. Legally speaking, that's game over. The statute of limitations for defamation is a year, and they blew past it like a speeding car on the freeway. But maybe the most brutal blow comes from the text messages themselves. One exchange between two key figures actually shows that even they think Lively genuinely believes in her own claims. That's not malice, that's conviction. And it's pretty hard to accuse someone of malicious falsehoods when even your own evidence says she believes she's telling the truth. In the end, it looks like the Wayfair parties might have set fire to their own credibility. What started as a high-stakes, headline-grabbing lawsuit is now looking more like a cautionary tale of legal backfire. You couldn't script a better twist if you tried. Here's where it gets even messier. Apparently, Wayfair's entire argument is built on contradictions that practically cancel each other out. It's like they're trying to build a house of cards on quicksand. First off, nobody's even sure whether civil extortion is a thing under California law, but let's just say it is. The supposed extortion they're talking about is so twisted and tangled that it wouldn't survive a gentle breeze, let alone a legal challenge. According to them, Lively somehow bullied her way into doing more work on the film's editing than she was contractually obligated to do, without getting paid extra for it. Wait a minute. So she demanded creative control to work harder? Sounds like a real villain, right? And here's the kicker. If this so-called extortion was such a big deal, why didn't Wayfair take legal action the moment it happened? Instead, they waited until Lively hit them with her own legal claims to suddenly decide they were victims of some grand power move. If that doesn't scream retaliation, I don't know what does. Meanwhile, the movie went on to become a blockbuster hit, raking in piles of cash. Yet somehow Wayfair's crying foul over Lively, supposedly pushing for creative control to make the film better. Make it make sense. The whole thing reeks of desperation. Nothing in the complaint even resembles an actual legal claim. They're essentially throwing spaghetti at the wall and praying something sticks. And you know what's even better? If this gets dismissed, Wayfair might end up cutting Lively a fat check to cover her legal fees. Talk about poetic justice. And that's the tangled web they've woven. Accusations that contradict themselves, motives that make zero sense, and a lawsuit that's more of a PR disaster than a legal triumph. Will the judge buy any of this? I'd say the odds are slim to none. What do you think? Let's get into it in the comments.